I get that cash and I flip it, yeah. I get that cash and I flip it.
So hello to all of my cherry bombs. What is up? What is poppin'? I am back with another story in my Failed Jobs Friday series. You guys have been asking for me to do more of these stories, and I realized you guys really like them. And the past couple weeks I just been slacking. Like, I really just been slacking, and I've been frustrated because YouTube has just been giving me crap. Like, they be trying to demonetize like every other dang video, and I'm just like, child, like, sis be putting in work. Like, what are y'all doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So the past like probably like 2 weeks I've been kind of slacking, but anyway, so I am back. We are doing another Failed Jobs Friday story in this series. So if you guys are new to my channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Please give this video and all my other videos thumbs up so that more people can find my content, because YouTube do not be pushing my content. And also, please turn on your notification bell so that you know when I'm posting content. And if you already do have on your notification bell, just make sure that it's still on, because again, YouTube just been coming for your girl. So anyway, so this story, I feel like, because some of my Failed Jobs Fridays kind of go with the pretty girl curse thing, and then some of them don't. This one I feel like definitely goes with the pretty girl curse, because I literally just don't know. Like, as I said in a lot of my other videos, you guys, I feel like I'm probably telling these stories and people are kind of starting to probably at this point feel like, oh, like, there's got to be something she's doing. There's no way that she's never wrong. And it's not that. I definitely have my moments where I be wrong as hell, and I can admit to when I be wrong as hell. Nobody's perfect. I be, you know, just off the shit sometimes too. But these particular set of stories are not stories where I've been off the shits, okay? So I'm gonna tell you guys about when I worked at Mellow Mushroom, and this was during my semester off, and it's a pizza place, and actually they're still good. Like, they're super fire. Like, their pizza is really, really good, but they took off my favorite. It was called a like Bayou Blue. It was so good, y'all. But anyway, that's besides the point. So I used to work at this place called Mellow Mushroom Pizza Place, and the money was actually like pretty darn good. I worked literally right by the baseball stadium, and people would always come in before baseball games. They would come in after baseball games. So on any given weekend, I was probably pulling in like maybe around like $500-600 in a weekend, which was awesome, because that didn't even include what I was making during the week. So I literally used to, I can't say I used to love this place, because I was just at a very, very low point in my life where I was like really, really, really depressed. And it wasn't because I was working there. Like, I mean, it wasn't like working there was cool, but I was just at a very, very low point in my life. But money wise, I used to love this place. So starting off at Mellow Mushroom was like cool. Everything was like, my staff was cool. Everybody was chill. It wasn't like everybody was hanging out outside of work or nothing. Hell no. But the vibe was just, everybody was chill. So I had this one coworker. I'm gonna name her Maggie. And Maggie started off literally like, I didn't know we had no issues. Maggie was like kind of like this very like quirky, like just like quirky, like really nerdy white girl, or white woman actually, because she was older. Like, she was like, Maggie was like probably like 29 or 30. I used to like her because I'm one of those people where I'll talk to anybody. Like, I don't care if you're kind of like more nerdy and like awkward, or if you're super poppin' and like whatever. I don't care. Like, I just will talk to anybody. I'm a people person. I like people. I enjoy people. So I would always come into work, I would talk to her, whatever, and you know, I just thought that the vibe was cool, and she would always act cool. So but you could tell like Maggie was like kind of like anal. Like, she was like a very, very like by the book type person, but she also was just like didn't really have any room to enforce it, because she was just another one of my coworkers. She wasn't a manager or anything. Like, she was just like another one of the coworkers. So I just come in, talk to her, whatever, crack some jokes, and be about my way. Maggie ended up becoming a manager. And this is when everything went to shit. And I was just like, dang, like, I thought we was cool. So soon as Mackie became a manager, yo, soon as Mackie became a manager, she would always like, she would just kind of like find things, like pick at me, or like find things that I had done that was like an issue. And I'm just over here like, dog, like, are you serious? Like, what the are you serious? So I remember there was this one time, like, we're at work or whatever, it was like a busy, like, the lunches at that like Mellow Mushroom where I used to work, the lunches used to be pretty busy, which wasn't an issue because I like jobs where I enjoy being busy. I don't like when it's slow. Like, I enjoy being busy. I enjoyed having a lot of stuff to do. So it was a busier day or whatever, and I had kind of got in the weeds, but it wasn't like tremendously in the weeds, but I definitely was a little bit in the weeds. So I guess one of my coworkers clocked me and was like, you know, Cherry's kind of in the weeds. It seems like she needs some extra help and da 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 da. And I can't remember like what was said after, but I remember Maggie pulling me aside like later on that day and being like, yeah, so so-and-so is saying that you might need some extra, I think she said like some extra training or whatever it was, like you need some extra help or you might need smaller sections. And I'm just like, so-and-so need to mind they goddamn business and let me make this money. Mind your business. I hate, oh my god, I hate when people are all up in your, all up in your shit. Like, I hate when people do that. So that was one thing, but it wasn't like an issue, but it kind of was an issue because I was like, dog, like, don't give me smaller sections. Like, I can handle mine. Don't give me smaller sections. I'm trying to make my money. So I wasn't really feeling that conversation, but it wasn't like an issue. What I would notice after she became a manager is like, there would just be like really little things, and she would pull me aside and like nag at me for them, or like she would blow it out of proportion and make it like a big issue as like a, oh, like you need a I'm writing you up for this. Like, there were at least 2 times, because on the second time I was like, you know what, nah, or no, maybe it was the 3rd time. So yeah, there were at least 2 times where she had written me up, and I can't now remember what they were for, but I remember they were really stupid. And I remember they were stupid because I remember that they were dumb to the point that even my other coworkers were like, yo, why? Like, literally, why? They were so stupid. Like, it would literally be absolutely pointless. So she started doing that, and like she would just be picking with me and stuff. And mind you, I had no issues at this job before she became manager. As soon as she became manager, I was getting sat down every other week talking about there was an issue, there was a problem, so and so's complaining, this, that, and the third. You know, we're really like basically being like, oh, like we shouldn't have to keep talking to you like this. Kind of like the same thing my PF Chains manager was doing. It was like the whole like, oh, we shouldn't have to keep talking to you like this. Not to mention, I forgot to mention in my PF Chains story that when that was going on, another thing that my PF Chains manager would do was when I would wait on tables, he wouldn't do this to nobody else's tables but mine. When I would wait on tables, he would always make it a point to go behind me and ask my tables, oh, how is she doing? How is she treating you? Is she doing okay? Like, is she doing good? And he would be kind of like, he would pry, but he was like prying as a like, like they would be like, oh yeah, no, she's fine, like she's great. And he'd be like, okay, well, but how's this? Like, how's she doing with this? And they'd be like, oh no, like, yeah, like she's good. And he'd be like, oh, okay. But what about that? Like, he would pry and try to get something negative out of them, and he wouldn't get nothing. So then he would go from table to table in my section, asking them all the same thing, and he wouldn't get nothing negative. And then if he would get even a little anything from one little table, that would be enough for him to be like, okay, now I got a reason to pull her into the office. Like, now she done messed up now. And I'd be like, dog, like, are you serious? Like, you really going around my section asking each table like how I'm doing? You're not doing that to nobody else. And then basically trying to coerce them into saying something like negative. Boy, get the... Anyway, so he was kind of doing the same thing, except she wouldn't go around to my tables and ask them stuff, but she would just like pay heavily close attention to everything that I was doing versus everybody else. and then she would like try to clock me on little stuff that wasn't even like, it just wasn't stuff that was an issue. But anyway, so what happened was, after my second time, he had wrote me up, because she kept on trying to write me up for really, really dumb stuff. So after the second time, I was already like, okay, I see where this is going. She don't want me to work here no more. And now she's a manager, so now she has the power to like get me to not work here. And all while I'm processing this, because mind you guys, I was literally young at this time. I'm like 19 or 20. So all while I'm processing this, I'm just like, at the same time I'm confused, because I'm like, me and cool, like, what happened? Like, I was always so nice to her. I would come in and talk to her. We would joke, haha, like all that stuff. Like, everybody else would be like, literally everybody else would say it was annoying, she was anal, she was a stickler. Everybody else would be like, got on their god dang nerves. And I was the one person who would come in there and be like, it's not that bad. Ooh. I've been saying her name this whole time. Wow, awkward. And then she turned on me for no reason. Like, what? So what was the icing on the cake, and what was the final, like, okay, this done took me out, I'm over it, I'm done, like, I see where this is going. You've been trying to get me out of here, and I really only had one more strike before I was out, because of all the little stuff that she kept writing me up for. And at most jobs, like, once you get your third write-up, like, you're out. So it came to the time for, so it came a point to where I was set up to get my third one. So what happened was, these two older black men came in. They come in really late to eat or whatever, and I'm like, okay, cool. So they come in, I take their table, you know, I'm like really nice to them the whole time. I'm asking if they need anything, I'm coming to check on them, everything. Y'all, I did my job. I can't stress this enough. Like, nobody can say I did not take care of this table. I was so nice with them. I only had 2 tables in my section at the time. Like, I really took my time with them. So I'm like, you know, doing everything, whatever. Every time I would ask them if they need anything, no, we're cool. But they were really like, it was really weird though, because they were being really quiet, and I would ask them stuff and they would act like they didn't want to answer me. Like, they were just being like mad stank, like they didn't want to answer me. But I just kept on killing it with kindness. I was like, you know what, I see they're being really stank, I'm gonna just be as nice as I can to them, because I know that they're trying to get something out of me, and I'm not about to give you that. Like, I'm just, no, like, if you want to be stank, cool, I'm not about to match that energy, because that's not why I'm here. So I would just be really nice to them, but they were like, they were just making it very difficult to get things out of them, like to write. They were making it very difficult to understand their needs if they did need anything, because I would ask them and they would have like this long pause, like almost like, I don't want to talk to you. Ugh, but I guess I need something, so I have to. So all right, well, I need this. It was just really weird how they were doing me. Like, it was really weird. But again, killing it with kindness, whatever. Didn't think nothing of it, because sometimes people just have a crappy day and they come in and they decide they're just gonna be stank to their waitress. It's not uncommon. So I just was like, okay. So they get through the whole meal, and when they get to the very end of the meal, by that time is like not checking on my specific section, but she's just going around the restaurant, just like, you know, checking on different tables, seeing how everything is doing, like doing her job as a manager. She's just checking to see how everybody's doing. So I guess she went and she talked to those 2 guys, and then she comes over to me and she's like, so what happened with those 2 guys? And I'm so confused, because I'm like, nothing. Like, as far as I'm concerned, they've been good. Like, what do you mean what happened with them? And she's like, oh, well, they've been telling me that you've been giving them attitude, and you've been like very you've been standoffish, and you've been rude to them, and then they said their food wasn't right and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, yo, you cannot be serious. You literally can't be serious. And by now, this was after P.F. Chang's, okay? So I've already had this exact same thing happen to me before. And I've had this happen to me multiple times at any waitressing job, because people just like to try and lie on their waitresses. But at other jobs, I've been fortunate enough to where my managers knew my character enough and had observed what was going on enough to know that the table was full of shit. But this time, she already had her little agenda, vendetta against me, whatever was going on, because I had no idea why was out to get me. So I'm just kind of over here confused, but I'm listening. And she's like, yeah, well, I had to give them, like, I gave them a coupon to come back and eat for discounted or whatever. And in my head, I'm just like, sure, of course you did. Because we reward bad behavior in the restaurant hospitality industry all the time. So of course you did. And they knew that's what you were going to do. So that's why they were acting like that, because that's what they wanted. People understand in the restaurant industry that you can get rewarded for bad behavior, and that's why they do it. And that's the only thing that I really, really, truly hated. Or not the only thing, but that's the main thing that I really hated about working in hospitality, was that people understand they can get rewarded for bad behavior. And working in hospitality, a lot of managers and a lot of companies have this idea that the customer is always right. And the customer is not always right. Sometimes the customer will come in there and dog walk you. They really will. And then look at your manager like, oh, well, this person was so mean to me, da da da. And you be like, literally. And I'm just like having one of these moments where I'm just like, contain it, just contain it. So we get through the night and it's time for me to do my checkout and everything, and we're in the office or whatever. I'm giving her all my stuff and she's like, okay, well, that table really had an issue with you, and you've been kind of having a little bit of issues around here lately. And she was like, you know, I hate to do this. And I'm listening like, no you don't, girl, you've been waiting on, shut up, you've been waiting on this. So she's like, I really hate to do this, but I'm gonna have to give you another write-up. And I'm just over here, or maybe maybe this was only my second write-up, because I remember if it would have been my third, I would have been signing a termination form, and that's not what I was signing. So maybe it was like I was getting warnings, and then I had gotten at least, like, this was my second write-up, that's what I'm gonna say. So when she handed me the form, I literally told her, I looked in her face, I said, look, I see what's going on here, I understand what's going on here, and I understand that I'm about to be set up to eventually be fired. So I'm not going to sign this, I don't want to sign this, and I actually want to quit instead. I'm quitting. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry that, you know, you feel that way, like, I'm really sorry to see you go. And the whole time that she's like telling me this and giving me this so disingenuine, oh, I'm so sorry that you feel like you have to leave, I'm just like, I'm sitting there like, yo, if I really voiced how I'm feeling right now, if I really acted on how I'm feeling right now, I might be going to jail. So please just shut up. Like, I'm just sitting over there just trying to contain myself, because at this point I'm just like, yo, you can't be serious. Like, it's always some foo-foo going on at jobs. Like, I do not be bothering y'all. Like, I really don't be bothering y'all. I don't know what about me be making people so mad. So mad. This girl was on a mission to get me fired from the moment she became manager, you guys. Because mind you, I had been there at least, I want to say I was probably there for a good, like, I was there probably a good, like, 6 months. And had no issues until the last, like, I think she was manager probably the last 2 months. I had no issues until she became manager. So long story short, you guys, she was a hater, and people be having me bent. People be having me so bent, and I just be over here like, I'm really minding my business. Like, y'all be so bothered. But anyway, you guys, that is my story. That is my I don't even know which story this is in my failed job series, so I don't know which one this is, but that is how I ended up quitting Mellow Mushroom. in my failed job series, you guys. And yeah, it is what it is. Like, I guess my aura just be pissing people at jobs off, because in general I don't have enemies. Like, I get along with like everybody I meet. I literally do. Like, I'm such a cool person. But I guess at work and job settings, I just be pissing people off. I don't know what it is. I just be pissing people off. So yes, I will see you guys in my next video. Please go ahead and leave your comments down below. Subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Help me out, please. And I'm out.